Hey everybody, welcome back to Going Medieval. When we last left off, we had just finished building our first communal home here, our first little supply house or supply building. We got our cabbage field planted, good to go, so when it's ready to harvest, they can harvest it. We created a pen for our goats in hopes to make more goats. And now we are currently digging a hole, a diggy hole. And we are going to create not only are we getting, limestone out of this because it's rocky soil, but we're going to create basically an underground storage area. So a root cellar for our food so that it doesn't spoil, quickly. It'll still spoil, but at least it should give us enough time to, keep the food until the next harvest, so that should pan out for us as soon as it's done being dug. Now, I have both Oswald and Thaberga mining and digging currently, whereas Henrik is writing because we are currently trying to achieve more research. We only have 7 available chronicles at the moment, but obviously we need at least, this is 30 for instance for the next tier of research, which we're not going to do quite yet, but I mean, you can see what we're looking at here. We got to get a sizable amount before we can really do anything. Now, I might actually do furniture next, simply because if you look at the rest of these, 20 to 30. So if having 15, it'll let us also create a library because we need to have a building to store all of our research that we make, which as you can see here, Henrik is basically researching, he writes his chronicle, and then he brings it over here to our stockpile. I had to look at that because I forgot what they're called. But we definitely need a better way to actually store that, because when you write your books and then you research a subject, it doesn't just take away the books. They don't disappear. They're there permanently. It's just, it reduces the amount of available books that you have. So you eventually need to just create a library and have bookshelves full of books to keep your knowledge, because it's your chronicle, it's your village chronicle, it's the knowledge that your village has. So that's what we need to focus on as well once we're able to. But currently speaking, just getting through this digging at the moment is probably the highest priority. I might actually, let's see, these are all ripe. Ooh, this one's ripe. I want them to pick ripe fruit, of course, when available, merely because, I mean, we're not hunting at the moment. We're not fully going with our farms yet, so it's better to start picking berries, and, picking this barley actually might be a really good idea too. But you want to get it when it's ripe. You never want to get it to when it's ripening or when it's, flowering, etc. You want to wait till it's ripe, so just get those set. Hopefully they'll eventually be picked up here. And I'm curious, I might have Thaberga too high on the mining. Well, no, it is her better skill, isn't it? And so is Oswald. Oof. Really what I need is another settler, unfortunately. I think it might be in my interest to actually cancel a good chunk of this for the moment, just because I am actually asking for them to dig a lot here, aren't I? So we'll just keep it as that for now. That's a pretty good root cellar size anyway. Oh, no, I knew this problem would happen because the AI can't figure things out. So now Oswald is stuck. I'm gonna have him come over here, and you come over here. That way we can dig this path here, and once this path is dug, then we're good. He can do whatever he wants. But we definitely can't have him stuck down here when it's time to go to sleep and stuff like that, because if you're not paying attention, especially when you have a ton of settlers, if you're not paying attention, they get stuck down here. You don't see them, and then they start sleeping outside, and then they get super unhappy. They start starving. And obviously, you know, at that point, they could either die or... Bro. Come on. All right. They're going to do that one. You do that one. So yeah, they start starving. They start dying. It's just not a good time, obviously. You don't want to do that to your settlers. It's not very nice of you to do. But thankfully, this will be an easy way to get out. It's probably a better thing that I did cancel this entire area that I had over here. Oh. A rangy hawker empties their pack, spreading a selection of oddments on a linen cloth on the ground. I buy and sell things that take my fancy on the road, they say with a crooked smile. Take a look if you like. All right. So that's a merchant, or a traveling merchant, I believe, and he will eventually, if I'm not mistaken, head his way towards us. Let's see. Oh, woo. Got some howling wolves over here. Margaria. Oh, and it's a woman. Oopsie, I gave her a male voice. Not bad. I guess it really doesn't tell you, though. But yeah, they'll show up at the settlement here. They actually, I believe, come to the campfire, if I'm not mistaken. And then they just kind of hang out, and you could talk to them and barter with them. And yeah, pretty straightforward. I'm thinking right now we have 37 chronicles, of which I believe 7 are usable. I think Henrik needs to start doing some other stuff here, just because... Ooh. Got 4 stews, 14 red currants, 19 ale. Man, I guess research does make sense, unfortunately. Okay, so I've directed Henrik to talk to Margaria, just to show you guys the merchant screen here. So currently, on the left side, you have the proffering. On the right side, you have the acquiring. So basically, if I were to say, okay, I'm going to give you these 4 birch saplings, we are proffering a balance of 0.68. I'm going to say this is gold, which means we have now the ability to take 0.68 worth of items and acquire them. So for instance, if I did that, the balance is negative 0.24, which means it's in her favor. So if it's a negative balance, it's in the merchant's favor to trade. But if it's not, they're not going to accept this. In fact, you could see this line right here, or this little dip here. Let me reset it so you can see it better. This is actually a unfortunate side effect of having a low speechcraft using the character that you're using right now. And what that means is that it's actually going to be harder for me to justify taking more than what I'm proffering, which you can do eventually, especially high speechcraft people. You can definitely proffer less than what you're acquiring. But right now, I don't have that ability. There's no way. But yeah, this is the basic overview. It's really simplistic. It's really nice and just straightforward. It's intuitive. It gets the things done. And the thing is that it, at least since the last time I played, when you accept the offer and, you know, the goods are exchanged, the goods are just dropped at their feet, which I'm sure it's probably changed since then, but maybe not. So I guess bear that in mind if you end up picking this game up, playing it, and then you do this, and you're like, wait, where's my stuff? It's by their feet. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like this, but I just wanted to show you that screen. All right, a little time has passed, but I just realized I need to give them a leisure activity. So what I've done is I've gone down here to the leisure screen, and I'm going to choose a backgammon table and just throw it in their space here, just to give them something, because right now they're not happy in terms of having anything to do aside from work, sleeping, and eating. I've advanced the time a little bit just because, I mean, right now this is all I'm doing. I'm just digging and mining, so it's a little bit more difficult when you only have 3 settlers in terms of things to do at the beginning, but it does end up getting quite complicated and a lot more fulfilling once you start adding more people. One thing I'm thinking of after this root cellar is created is building individual homes for these people. They don't need to be massive. I mean, this is going to be a very small village to start with. That's how they all start, really. All of them are small villages to start. So it's just better to segue from having a communal home like this to having individual homes, because it'll make them happier as well. They'll say, oh, I slept in my own bed, stuff like that. And what's really cool is up here at the top where I was showing you where you can hide and show the roof elements. You can even do tree tops, for instance. But you could also show zones. You can show item indicators. You can also show, which is the, I don't know if you see it here once it pops back up. Little circle around it. It just means it's a pickup, like an item that they could pick up and use. But I could also show the overlay of rooms. So right now, these are just spare rooms because there's no discernible object within them that dictates, hey, this is a bedroom or this is a library or, you know, a kitchen, etc. And of those rooms, there's kitchens, workshops, libraries, Church of Restitution Chapel, Oak Brethren Temple, chambers, shared chambers, great halls, infirmaries, and spare rooms, which is what we are right now. Spare room, nothing in it, nothing special. But each room provides certain bonuses. So if you want, you can just pause, you know, after every overlay there that I just did, and you can read what they do, but they certainly provide quite a bit of bonus, and it's very much so in your interest to actually do that. You definitely want to get your settlers working and sleeping in particular rooms. It's very, very, very helpful. I am going to get rid of these trees here just because they're kind of in the way. I eventually want to build their homes around here. Trying to think where is the best spot for them, because I really don't want to impede on this grass growth here. It's really beneficial to have this tall grass. And I want to continue to, I guess for lack of a better term, just take advantage of everything here. All right, and you notice they're putting thumbs up. That's when they're talking to each other, if I'm not mistaken. So these two like each other for sure. I think they're both restitutionists, if I'm not mistaken. Am I remembering that correctly? I gotta find, there it is. Restitutionist. Yeah, they're both restitutionists, so they'll be more friendly to each other. It's probably good that I have these people separated. They're not going to be like, well, I guess this is not true. I was going to say they're not going to be super rude to each other, but I believe they actually made changes a while back where conversations between settlers can be negative because of differences in values. So I guess that's possible. But overall, your settlers they're not going to like brawl. They're not going to kill each other. I mean, so far as I know, I've never seen that ever happen, but I suppose it's plausible, which is kind of freaky, but yeah, I'm going to fast forward here and we'll get to it once we get the ability to actually build our root cellar here and get moving. So I'll see you here in just a moment. Okay, I wanted to point out something here, which is exactly what I've been talking about in terms of how the AI reacts to certain situations when it involves digging and mining. The Burga is currently stuck. She cannot mine the spot that she is standing on, and she has somehow gotten herself stuck here. So what I'm probably going to end up doing here in the future is micromanage the digging, unfortunately. I mean, that's what I had to do the last time I played the game. I ended up having to micromanage everything about mining because the AI just does not path it correctly. And as you can see here, I also changed Oswald's job schedule. I put him on harvesting over mining currently, even though his mining skill is much higher than Thurberga's. But Thurberga's harvesting skill is so much lower than his And I need to have some botany happening because we are running low on food. We have 14 red currants. I mean, it's just not enough. We need to get food going here so that we can have, in fact, see how it says waiting for resources finally. We need to make some meals because they need to eat, obviously. So right now I'm going to have Thurberger just continue to mine, thankfully, and he's just going to go out and start doing all the harvesting we need. Now, unfortunately, he's also not really hauling any of it, but he will eventually. Right now he's working on this job, and then it'll shift over to hauling, thankfully. And then I think Henrik should be almost done. In fact, I don't know how many he's making. Oh, we do have 25 now. Perfect. So Henrik should be done doing what I need him to do. And now he's going to harvest animals. Perfect. Okay, cool. So we have 25. I'm not going to take it just yet because there's so many things that we need done before we move forward. And we need the ability to kind of get the more basic things done in this area before we start really pumping out the research. I typically play this way merely because if you're just pumping out research at the beginning, it's going to make all these basic things so much more difficult to achieve. I mean, yeah, I am spending a lot of time having 2 people mining, or it was at least until I made Oswald change, but simple fact remains that getting your food stocks protected and in a cool place is pretty important, to be quite honest. Henrik, what are you doing? Why are you... Oh, geez. Okay, I'm going to put you at 3. Can you haul the stockpiles, please? Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, it's just a matter of needing to get the right things prioritized. And I've always, and I could freely admit this, I've always had slight difficulties at the beginning on how I want to situate the jobs, because you only have 3 people. So setting your priorities is a little bit more difficult when you're given, like, you know, one person, 33% of your village is focused on a single task. Obviously, once you get many, many more people, you can actually just start doing what I did here, for instance, how I removed cooking altogether from these 2 just because their cooking skill is 0 and 0. Now, in the future, can I have them cooking even though they're still 0? Absolutely. The main reason you want to start, at least in the burger's case, as her being the only cook, is merely because you don't want to waste your resources. Yeah, is the likelihood of them failing the cook high? No, it's probably about 20%, but that's right now pretty important. We need to keep as much as we can without, you know, the resource getting ruined, which maybe you guys have seen it pop up, maybe you haven't yet, but sometimes it'll say, oh, harvest ruined or resource ruined, stuff like that, meaning that if they were mining and it got ruined, it's all lost. Or if, for instance, over here, if I'm not mistaken, Oswald was actually harvesting some of these barley stalks here, and he failed, and the harvest was just lost. So, and that sucks. I mean, you want the harvest there, and you need the harvest, but you just sometimes have to, unfortunately, kind of just slow roll it a little bit and make sure that everyone has the appropriate skill level to really start doing these things. Now, for Oswald, for instance, he's going to keep leveling up his harvesting. In fact, he's already gotten 1 skill so far, which is good. So he will probably be our main harvester as it, you know, pertains to the 3 of them currently. But I'm sure in the future, once we start getting more settlers in, we'll start seeing people with higher, you know, botany skills, thankfully. So we'll move on to them and let them handle it. But I'm going to fast forward again here, and I'll see you here in just a moment once we are able to continue this little build. Okay, welcome back. So I've laid out the first iteration or first stages of this root cellar. So what I've done is I've surrounded this is going to be the ground level, and it's not going to go any higher than this currently. But this first level here is going to be made of limestone, since we have so much of it now. More than enough. We have, you know, this is going to be 37 limestone wall, like pillars or blocks or whatever you want to really call it. But we have plenty of limestone for that, thankfully. And what I'm essentially going to do is that because limestone's thermal, what's it called? Thermal insulation is 0.87, as you can see here, that not only helps retain the cool temperatures once we get these rooms cool, but it'll also help maintain the, you know, hot temperatures away from the inside. So I know that sounds like a weird way to say that. It's just, it's good. It's good insulation. This is all this is. And it's not going to have any windows. We're not going to have anything open up. There's likely going to be very minimal lighting in here once this is all made. And this first floor is going to be basically like, honestly, probably going to replace this little place right here because we only made this as a temporary measure. And, you know, I'll be able to poach everything about this because we didn't dig underground, obviously, so I can just remove all the wood flooring. I can remove all the wood walls. I can remove the roof, everything, and then move as much as I can over here, which will be really nice. Now, what you didn't see at first was me setting the beams, which if I lower the ground here, there we go. So all I am doing that, by the way, is I'm holding down control and using the mouse wheel. Scrolling down raises the level, scrolling up lowers the level. But as you can see, I made these two wood beams, these cross beams here, to make it easier and obviously to, you know, give support to the floor that we're making. And as you can also see, people are failing their construction jobs because everyone's construction isn't very, oh, I guess it is kind of medium. Okay, so I don't know why these people are failing, but they're failing miserably. And I am not too happy about that because it's a loss of resources, but it is what it is, I suppose. But that's what we're looking at right now. Like I said, we are building this first level here. And what I'll end up doing, assuming if I have enough, I'll do probably a limestone roof, but I'm thinking now that I'm looking at it, 8 limestone per roof size. Probably not. I mean, we would need 96 limestone. If we have 96 limestone, I will do it. How about that? That'll look nice and neat. But yeah, for now, I think we're on a good track here with this. It's kind of funny how they built this. They're skipping pillars here, strangely enough. But yeah, I'm really thinking we're not going to have enough. Let's see, how many do we have left? Oh, I don't feel like counting. I don't think we're going to have enough, so that's okay. We'll eventually dig out more, so we'll be okay there. I think the next thing I want to build is the homes that I mentioned, the private homes, I should say. And I want to stick them, you know what, actually, now that I think about it, I could just keep this building here instead of poaching it and use it as a private home instead. I'll probably remove, you know, like these 2 pillars, for instance, so that I can put in windows on both sides. So it's not so closed in for this person, but I can even put them here too. Something to consider there. But for now, let's, how many wide is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 wide. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I can actually do that and that, that and that. And we can do that and that, and those can all be windows. And then lastly, that. And then that way we can work on the roof afterward. But I'm going to fast forward this and I'll see you once this first level of construction's done. Okay, we are back. So now you can see that this has been completed. I'm just about to finish the first home for one of the three, but I wanted to show you the differences in temperature for each room now. So outside, ambient air outside is 68 degrees Fahrenheit, as you can see at the top right. Up here, if you were curious, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but in this room, it is 47 degrees. That is a 20-degree difference. And then heading down underground, it is 40 degrees. This is exactly what I was talking about. Now, as you can see, I'm obviously having these guys dig because I want to do one more level. And it, you know, the lower the level, the more chance of it being cooler as we go down. And what's really neat is as you keep going down, the temperatures stay pretty consistent no matter how hot it is outside. So it's not going to be terribly affected by the rapid swings in temperature, thankfully. And what I can do now is build that there. Oop, cancel that. Built it a little too far. There we go. But now that that's done, as you can see here, this is now good and ready to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the game just so I can get these placed out. So we are going to do a wall torch, which will allow them to have a little bit of light. I'll just put that right there. And then I'm going to place a... It sucks for now, but they will eventually get an actual bed. But for now, they're going to get a hay sleeping spot. And then I believe... Let's see. Let's look at our rooms here. In order to get a bedroom... must have exactly one bed. Alright. Easy. So that'll complete that chamber, as they call it. And it'll afford us the ability to move one person in here. And now we just really need to kind of flesh it out with the other place here. So let's deconstruct this. And let's move our stockpile over here. I'm gonna have to do an overhead view here. This will be a much larger spot. And then we want to make sure that they don't put this stuff in there. So I don't want saplings in there currently. I also don't want carcasses whatsoever. Nor do I want waste. That should be sufficient. Oh, we also don't want limestone or dirt. I think that's it for now. Everything else can go in there. But this stuff doesn't decay, so this can be just sitting outside. Perfect. I'm going to fast forward it here until everything is placed over, and I'll be right back. All right, so we have finally arrived to our first new settler. So what ends up happening here typically is we will get a settler that comes in with some kind of issue. In this case, it says, appearing deranged at first, Henry was simply overcome with terror, a pitiful, stumbling corpse with wheels from binding and harsh beatings by a cruel master. Henry begged, hide me! I will die if I am caught. Now I have two options. I can either slam the door shut, leaving Henry outside and likely to his death, which would cause a negative mood modifier, or we can assist him by letting him join our group, our settlement of Wild. What that'll do is allow Henry, the new settler, to come in, who is an intellectual and he does culinary. That's perfect. But we would expect an archer and two marauders, which we would have to fight, which is okay. We are going to help him. Now, Henry is injured, As you can see here, the search party will arrive in roughly 1 day and 22 hours and 30 minutes. Now, his wounds need tending, which he will eventually get to a bed here. What I can do here too, when you click on a bed, you can specify who gets that bed. So I'm going to put Thurberga here and Oswald here. Henry and Henrik can sleep in the same room for now until we build, you know, the next couple places, of which I can honestly just cut this in half and, you know, turn it into 2 homes essentially, which is likely what I'll do. But we need to assist Henry first in getting, you know, not only tended to, but saved here. And he's hungry, so he's going to get some food first, of course. He is also a devout oak brethren, which we also need to start considering religion for these people, because they need religion in order to be happy. Settlers idle. Henrik, what are you doing? All right, let's think of something for Henrik to do. Let's go ahead and harvest some stuff here, bud. Definitely don't want settlers to be idle ever. Cut down some trees while we're at it as well. And, you know, unfortunately, I know I said don't cut down young or anything other than mature or dead, but this one's going to have to go because it is currently in the way. Everyone is asleep, yet it isn't fast forwarding. That's strange. But what I'm going to do now is set up through the autosave there. Actually, let's cancel these 2 so I can make windows. I think that suffices there. And then I'm just going to do this. Doesn't need windows on every single side. We'll get our door. These are very basic quarters, but it works out quite well for us. And look at that. Would you believe it? This thing went into a higher stage, so that even helps us more. It'll make a little bit more wood for us. Ooh, all this tall grass is good to go. Why don't we harvest all that? That'll be helpful. Are these good? Yep. There we go. So that can all be harvested. This can be built. We'll have our 3rd of 4 necessary homes here. And as always, I want to make sure that these look good. Henry seems to be okay. Henrik is super happy, apparently. Why is that? Together we're strong. Yep. That's a good... That's why you want to assist settlers, essentially, is that you get a mood benefit and everyone gets a boost. Now, unfortunately, for whatever reason, these folk here aren't terribly happy, but they're not unhappy, but they haven't somehow reached the threshold of above, you know, here. Even though they are above it. Well, that's super weird. Anyway, doesn't matter. Oh, you can see here. So now they're friends. All 3 of our settlers are now friends with each other. That's a good thing. Pleasant conversation caused that, which is really, really good. Oh, we're already getting our first harvest in. Excellent. Now, Henry, I better pause this so we can overlook Henry here. So Henry, we definitely want him to be a patient. We want him to tend. And always convalesce. Let's see. His marksman's only 6. We'll put him to 1 on cooking, even though his skill is the same. That's good. Okay, good. That's a good thing. Oh, his carpentry's pretty good. Definitely not doing tailoring right now. Okay. So his intellectual is only 5. And even though these are his favorite things, of his 3 favorite things, I should say, we're not. I'm sorry, bud, but you're not that smart. That'll work out. That should be fine. But our search party will arrive here in another 1 day and 7 hours, so I don't know why it says 1 minute. That's strange. We need to be on the lookout for that. We got to make sure every person has a weapon here. So we're going to make sure that everyone's got all this good. Perfect. And there we go. Henry's got a weapon. Now, hopefully someone ends up cutting this down so we can continue this. But as it stands right now, everyone seems to just want to do everything but that. Which is so silly to me, but okay. Here you go. But the village is definitely getting fleshed out. F in chat. Almost. Oh wow, look at all this tall grass. Amazing. I'm hoping that this will spread further if I leave this part alone, at least for now. I'm not in a big deal of paying for hay, thankfully. It's not a pressing issue at the moment. If you had a whole crap load of animals, then yeah, it becomes a pressing issue, unfortunately, but let's call the... Yeah, cut them. Oh no, I don't want to cut them. Cancel. Harvest, harvest, harvest. There we go. Let's harvest that flax. Flax is used for creating clothing and whatnot. It's basically spun into thread and then converted over. A lot of the time, you will also, when you're playing, obviously, if you end up getting this game, if you don't have it yet, or if you do play, you probably do already know this, but you do end up fast forwarding through a lot just because this pace can be very slow. I really don't start using speed 1 until later in the game. Well, 1, it's more laggy because obviously there's so many things going on. There's so many settlers and whatnot. And 2, because there's so much more to micromanage, you tend to miss things when things are sped up as they are right now, obviously, when they're sleeping. So usually I don't play with 1 speed until later, but I think it'll make it a little bit better overall if we see things moving at a quicker pace, just because it can get kind of sluggish. I'm not gonna lie, it can. I mean, that's just the nature of these types of games. Ooh, got a wild deer right here. That's neat. But we are not going to hunt them just yet. It's not imperative, though probably not a bad idea to also make a kitchen here soon. I could instead convert this building into a kitchen, to be quite honest. It's already established. It's large. I don't need to worry about, building another building. I could also keep this as, the research room and move the back up. There's a whole bunch of things I can do, which is nice. I can also just build new buildings for everything else. It's up to you when you start creating your village, how you want to proceed. In other playthroughs I've had, I like to conserve as much as I can. And so I will reuse buildings when I move on from them. Like, for instance, this building I'm obviously moving on from, and now I need to repurpose it. But there are some times where I just poach all the materials and build something new. That's also actually, strangely enough, true to life. That's the thing that happens. So We just got to decide, you know, exactly what we want to do moving forward with this. But what I really would like, there we go. Thank you, Thaberga. You read my mind just now. I wanted this completed so we can move one of these beds over and get things finished. Now, what I need to also contemplate is the next spot for a home, because I don't want to move this pen currently, mostly because it's just kind of a pain in the butt. And that's me just honestly being slightly lazy here, but it is what it is. I think... what do I think? Well, we know it's going to be 7 across, 6 down. I'll change it up a little bit with this. There we go. It's going to be 2 windows next to each other in this case on this building. And let's get our door. Let's get our floor. Let's get our roof. Show our work here. Perfect. Hide that once again. And where is it? There we go. And we'll just once again put 1 in there. Oh, we also need 1 for here too. But now I can move this, relocate to here. And now that can be moved in there. This will be another chamber, so we have 3 total, and then this will be our 4th chamber, and we'll have enough chambers for everybody to sleep in and to be happy. That's what we want. We want happiness modifiers. We don't want our settlers to be unhappy. And eventually, once we're able to make beer and wine, etc., etc., it will be awesome because our settlers will be super happy. Nothing like a good bit of drink, huh? I tell you what. But our village is definitely growing very nicely. I cannot wait until we get this big enough to where we start building a castle and whatnot. And now that you can specify rooms, you could specify who's your king and your queen as like a, I don't know, RP type of thing. I don't know. It's just, it's fun to create a village, but once again, I am going to fast forward right there because as you can see, it was taking quite a while for things to happen and it's just the way she goes. Let's get some more of this stuff harvested. I believe it is safe to harvest a good chunk of this here. All right, so this one I don't believe is occupied by anybody, so we'll have Henrik sleep there. Yep, and these last one here for Henry. Now, eventually, once winter rolls around, I will need to be building, where is it? Braziers, so that, okay, good, we have enough limestone, because that'll increase the heat in the room. And this is, again, where the stewards come in. Now, heat is generated from these wall torches, but generally speaking, during the winter, this is not at all going to provide enough. It will never provide enough. It's just simply a torch. It's best just for light. Really, ideally, you're going to want those braziers, and they serve a very good purpose in keeping your buildings and your homes warm so that your settlers aren't getting sick from cold and You know, stuff like that. It's just a quality of life thing. Oh, harvest ruined again. Come on, Oswald. Come on, man. Come on, Ozzy. We're getting that much closer. We're getting so close. We have an hour left until the hunting party arrives, by the way, so combat will be interesting here. Let's see how well they do. I mean, it shouldn't be... Settlers are Isla. Who's Isla? Alright, Oswald. Let's move this. Oops. Move this here. You're not going to do it? Okay. Violent extortionists, the looters. The brute spoke soft but menacing. Henry belongs to me. Hand over my slave or you'll all suffer. They were deadly serious. Well, guess what? So are we. We defy you. We will defend Henry. He is part of our family now. Okay, so I'm going to pause it here. As you can see, they are up north of us. I'm assuming this is north. Who knows? But now what we need to do, I'm going to select everyone. Not sure what Henry's doing. He's drinking. Okay. But what we need to do once he's done that, perfect. We draft everyone. And now what I like to do is have my archers in the back and have my melee guys up front. Holy crap, Henry is huge. Look at this beast. Hold on here. What are your modifiers? No idea, but he is a massive human being. He is just giant. So is Henrik. Henry and Henrik. Something about the Henrys over here. Let's see where they're coming from. I like that I could at least see this, and it's not like, oh, fog of war in terms of the actual guys coming in. Now, where are they going to come down from? Okay. So let's move forward over here. I'll have you guys hang out right here. A little bit further up. All right, so we're going to shoot after this guy. Oh yeah, taking the damage. So we've killed 2 marauders. Oh wow. Oh, Henrik has converted to devout. All right, so it says, the beleaguered settlers came under attack in the spring of 1353. The ordeal continued for 1 hour and 27 minutes. Mercifully, all settlers survived the raid. 2 sworn enemies died during the fight. The Burga Lapsley was the bravest of the settlers, dealing the most blows to the foe. Henry Crowder took the most damage from the enemy, thinking only of defending Wild in its hour of need. Oswald Stevens blocked the most hits. It should be recorded. Well, we are victorious in our very first raid. Now, first things first, let's get everyone out of draft. And Henry, I believe, is going to convalesce. Oh, shnikes. Why are you smacking Henry now? Oh god, please don't die. That would suck so much. Henry, get out of here. Oh yeah, he's injured. So it looks like he was taking a swing right when the battle ended. That's unfortunate. I think Henry would have taken that damage no matter what anyway, unfortunately. Alright, there we go. So now let's do that. Let's see who is the best tender here. Oh, Oswald, by far. Okay, Oswald, I need you to take care of Henry. get him taken care of. So we'll fast forward here. And the wolves are eating the people. That's lovely. What I like to do is obviously mark these as, well, no longer forbidden, because they need to be taken care of. Yikes. Can someone pick up Henry? Okay. I guess no one cared enough to pick up Henry, and he just passed out. Did I not? Oh, he does have a bed, but it's moved over here, and unfortunately it hasn't been finished yet. Poor Henry. He's sleeping on the floor in Berga's doorway. Oh well. At least he's healing up. He's not going to die, thankfully. That's the best thing there. He's not going to be very happy. But that's okay. I think we'll survive in this regard, but we should create a pyre here. And have it a little bit away. Oops. A little bit of away from the village for now. That way we can burn the corpses of our enemies. I will honestly bury our settler dead, but I will burn our enemies just because they don't belong in our land. All right, so here we go. Now Henry can have his own bed. That's why he wasn't convalescing. He didn't have a bed. Gotcha. That makes sense, unfortunately. Now, we don't have... I'm going to set your harvesting and growing to 1 now, because you should be harvesting this stuff here. Unfortunately, it's just not being taken care of in the proper way. But yeah, we're getting these taken care of, which is good, which is what we want. We're going to cut these down. And I think we are at a good spot today for today's video, but doing good so far, I would say. We got a nice little area. We got all of our settlers in their own homes. We just defended a raid. Everyone survived. Henry almost died. He slept on the floor. But we're doing pretty good so far. We're making some good changes, and we'll eventually get our food. In fact, now I think about it, before I stop this video, we're going to do that. We're going to scroll on down here, and we're going to make our food only stockpile. Oh, that's a little strange. That should not be that way. Let's... I don't know what's going on here, so I'm going to have to do that. Let's just do that. Do that. And we'll leave that spot blank so people can walk over it. So now we'll clear all. We'll make this a medium priority for food. We'll put fodder down here as well, because that's technically food too. And that way, oh, and medicine. Medicine should also be down here. That way our food will stay even cooler, and everyone will move that food down, thankfully. But that's just the smart thing to do while we're able to attain that. So yeah, I think this is a good place to stop. And like I said, we defended our first raid. We were able to finally get everyone their own home, and yeah, things are looking bright for the city, or the settlement of Wild. And yeah, I appreciate everyone watching once again. And if you like what you see, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe for more. I do truly appreciate all the subscribers we've gotten so far. I'm now at recording, at least, at 88, and it's really super exciting. I'm so happy to see everyone subscribing. So yet again, I do appreciate you all watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Thank you, and bye-bye.